You guys feeling lonely out there? Because your favorite cousins are here to give you some company. My name's Ben,
My name's Michael.
and it's the most lonely, not the loneliest, because that would only be the loneliest. This is the most loneliest day.
Most loneliest day.
Out of all the loneliest ones, this is the most. Well, it's not, because two people, well, one is the loneliest number, but two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number that comes after one. So I guess we're lonely. We need you guys out there listening to us. That's why we do this.
Yes,
We are
it is.
lonely, and here we go. Lonely Day.
By System of a Down
The Boys.
off the Hypnotize album.
This one's hypnotizing. This one's like droning, but in the right way, where it kind of pulls you in and gets your mind hypnotized and enveloped in the song. What do you think about that?
The writing is very simple,
Yes.
but it's also kind of fun.
Yeah.
Such a lonely day should be banned. It's a day that I can't stand.
That's the worst line. Because what does that even mean?
It's very bland.
The band for
It's a day that I'll never miss. The most loneliest day of my
they
life.
make a law that says they're not allowed to have this lonely of a day. What do you mean banned?
I just think it's fun writing. It's kind of bland. It's supposed to be lonely, right? Kind of depressing, kind of slugging through, but they still kind of keep it an interesting song. The guitar solo,
It's cool.
yes,
It's like classical guitar almost sounding, where it's like really he's up on the fret doing really fluttery things. It's pretty cool.
yes. So this is one of their most relatable songs. Not that She's Like Heroin wasn't, or Old Hollywood wasn't, or Bounce wasn't. You know,
Depends on who you are, what you do, where you grew up, what's going on, you know.
right?
But this one, yeah, more a universal message. Everyone's been lonely, no matter where you grew up, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. You've been lonely. You have had a day that's the loneliest, but have you had a day that's the most loneliest? Maybe. The video of this is kind of actually cool. It's like
You
they're
like
all
it?
bored. Well, let's interpret it. You think it's boring,
Yes.
and it is boring. It's lonely, but what does it mean?
I think it's actually good, or a decent reflection of some version of depression, I would guess. It's the four of them together, but also kind of ignoring each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing different sections of people throughout this city and different things catching on fire in their lives.
So they're not looking at each other. They're just all
In their
together.
own little worlds.
They're in their own little world.
Yep. Alone but together.
I think the fire is when people are listening to System of a Down, and it lights a fire in their brain and their hearts, and they come out of their own little worlds and see that the whole world is burning. Because it's like
Could be.
a little lock and a little... Oh, there's also a Pink Floyd reference. I just realized there's two guys shaking hands and burning, which is the cover of Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But you got the newspaper burning. You got a shopping cart burning. It's like all these little mundane... And you're lonely, but who keeps you company?
It could also...
System of a Down.
Yeah, I mean, it could be you don't
your ear
recognize...
holes.
In your ear holes. It could also be you don't recognize things going on around you, that kind of thing.
Could be them. They're torching all the fundamentals of society. They torch a train. They torch the newspaper. It's like they are like the anarchy is slowly burning each little piece of the machine.
Yeah. I just don't think it's incredibly fun to watch.
They're like, guys, look away from the camera for an hour while we film you on the bus.
Yeah.
And it'll get 300 million views.
Is that where we're at right now?
I don't know.
That's just a lot on this. Yeah, I just feel like you could have still got the message across of blandness in a bland video that was more interesting, as strange as that sounds.
Yeah, 300 million views. That's
It's ridiculous.
yeah. It's more than Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It's more than Wish You Were Here, the Pink Floyd thing they're ripping off. I'm just looking at YouTube while we do this, folks. High intensity research is done, and then high intensity YouTubing is done. High intensity. We go back to the source. We go back to the footnotes, the liner notes. We sit there in our little, we have like a hut in the back behind the studio where we listen to the albums in complete silence and ponder them in our minds before we record the podcast so that we have every detail memorized.
Yeah, all of them. So memorized. Well, Darren did, I guess, write the song.
Okay.
And
all by himself.
Is technically our lead vocalist on this. The song does appear in the 2007 movie with Shia LaBeouf, Disturbia, which is a
good movie and a good song. The song.
Do you like the movie?
It's kind of cool.
Where he's on house arrest there and he's watching Neighbors as time passes, and I think there's a murder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the song. I think maybe I'm just thinking of the song, the Rihanna song.
This is a classic movie.
And then there's like a really good remix of that song too.
Yeah, there is.
Serge is so bored in this, and then he's the thumbnail of the video. It's just him not singing, not playing, just not looking out the window. Like, great, Darren wrote a bad power ballad. It's a good power ballad, and they harmonize well. It's just so weird when Darren's like, I'm the lead guy, I'm gonna be the main singer guy, and the rest of these guys, and then it cuts to the drummer and bass player, and they're just like, we're not even part of this band. We're just
Well, it was nominated for Best Hard Rock Performance at the 2007 Grammys, but lost to your band, Wolfmother, and their track Woman.
Yeah, that is fair. That's totally fair. Woman is a lot better record than Lonely Day, definitely. I mean, it's apples and oranges. We'll do the Wolfmother podcast, and I don't even know if Wolfmother gets an S for Wolfmother necessarily, but that's better than Lonely Day, any day. Wolfmother is, and System is incredible too. They're both top tier. All pound for pound, let's just get it. System of a Down's a way better band, definitely.
Okay.
But that first Wolfmother album, all those songs are better than Hypnotize. Anything on Hypnotize.
Well, I like this song.
Yes.
I like that it's a little bit more relatable to the everyman. I like that we duet. I like that we sing. I like the guitar solo. I like that simpler writing. It's not a ton of writing, but it's enough for the song. I actually really like this. And it was the last one. I was going through my final songs to make my S levels all-time mixtape here. And I put it in to round out my mixtape here.
Nice.
Lonely Day.
Number 14.
Number 14.
The Lonely Day.
I'm going to guess you gave it like a C the way you're talking.
I bumped it up. I'm going to give it a straight B. Straight B. I think the lyrics are kind of goofy, but it works. They needed one like this that was like, that relatable. They got to be able to go that goofy to get that relatable. And I get that. And I do like the dual vocals and the guitar solo. B.
Okay.
You're going to be lonely on the deserted island, and then you're going to hear this. This is going to be one of the 14 songs that you have access to. And then you're going to be like, wow, this is such a deserted island.
Why the hell did I pick this song?
This is the most loneliest day.
Each day I listen to it.
Every day it's a
the
little
new
more
most loneliest.
More of your beach balls pop and more of your whatever you're fraternizing with at that point.
Oh my goodness.
These guys are cool, dude. I wish it shouldn't be the Darren show. Even this thing where they're not looking at the camera, they still film it like it's like the Darren show somehow. I feel like it should be the 4 personalities. They should all be like, and he can be the whatever guy, the John Lennon of the group. He can be the rebellious, but then you got the other guys. You get the quiet guy, the soulful guy, the drummer. I wish he talked more. John seems cool, but we got Darren up here like it's the most loneliest day of his life, and I've never heard John say a word. So I just think they could have played up the 4 personalities even more. Out of all the bands at the time, they had 4 guys who looked like stars, who had their own style, their own thing, their own. You think about some of these, who are the members of whatever, Linkin Park, even Linkin Park.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 guys who stand out and have like their own voice and their own vision, but some of them don't.
Well, let's segue for a second, speaking of personalities, and talk about the year of 2005 in television.
Hang on. Your mixtape is also complete?
Yeah,
complete.
It is. Would you like to run through it with me?
Run them, and then we'll run to the television to get our ADHD fixed.
My complete mixtape: Sweet Pea, Sugar, Prison Song, Chop Suey, Deer Dance, Toxicity, Science, Mr. Jack, BYOB. Question? Lost in Hollywood, Attack, Vicinity and Obscenity, and Lonely Day.
Dang.
Is my 14.
Gonna cover some more System of a Down. Wrap it up tight with a bow. Get them all taken care of. But we got some time capsule for you.
So just tackling some of the top shows that were running in 2005 and some of the top shows that debuted. So top 10 list is scattered with a lot of redundancy, unfortunately, but American Idol is massive, massive, massive. Carrie Underwood actually won the 4th season. She turned into a big star. She's still around, of course. I actually listened to quite a few of her albums.
Are we going to do her for season 5?
Yeah, after we finish up Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff.
I knew you were going to say Lindsay Lohan.
But yeah, the number 1 show was American Idol Tuesdays, and the number 3 was American Idol Wednesdays. So I believe they performed on one day, and then you could wait and vote and then figure out what happened on Wednesday. I believe that's how that worked. CSI had a few slots on here. I remember watching CSI when I was young. Like, I watched the very first episode.
Uh-oh.
And my parents were like, oh, yeah,
he's gonna
that
be a
was a little
murderer
violent.
now. Uh-oh.
So yeah, the original CSI was number 2, and then CSI Miami, which had just debuted, was number 7. We did have several. The Survivors, which are also hitting strong for reality TV at that point. That was 5 and 6. Palau and Vanatui, I can't really pronounce them. They're 5 and 6. Without a Trace was a big show, kind of spinning off there on big network television. That's debuted as well. Number 9 was Grey's Anatomy, which debuted that year and is still running strong in season 20 or whatever we are now. Massive, massive.
Crushing it, Grey's.
Historical show, whether you think it's written well and has good characters or not, for as long as it's been on.
Probably goes in cycles, right?
Yeah, I imagine.
Probably some good parts and bad parts.
Yeah, I imagine it's just like a soap opera that keeps on going right now. But at some point, everyone, I think, has at least somehow caught an episode of Grey's Anatomy, whether on normal television or syndicated somewhere. And then number 10 was Everyone Loves Raymond. I watched a lot of that growing up. My dad loved that show with Ray Romano, the comedian.
We love Ray.
So some of the other shows that popped up and debuted in 2005, The Office, which ran for several years, of course, based on the British show, The Office. Ours was much different, but Michael Scott there, played by Steve Carell. Massive show, debuted in 2005. We had a Doctor Who reboot on the Sci-Fi Channel. Attack of the Show on G4. You remember that?
Nice. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Dude, when they started doing G4, I was blown away. When I realized I could turn to a channel and they were talking about video games on TV.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge. It's so crazy now. Kids don't understand. It's so crazy now with stuff like Twitch and how mainstream gaming has become. Like, it's just viewed so differently now than it was at the time. Like, when G4 came out on TV, it was absurd to me. I was like, this is it still felt like gaming was like an underground thing.
Yes.
That not everybody did. Even though everybody was playing, Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and all that stuff, it still felt like something that was not taken seriously, not seen as media. It was seen as like a Rubik's Cube for years.
Yeah.
Like, it was seen as like a novelty, something you just...
And people didn't understand if you didn't do it.
Well, some people play with the paddle ball, some people play with the Rubik's Cube. Like,
yes.
It wasn't seen as an art form. It wasn't seen as media to be talked about or dissected or praised, or it was like upcoming reviews and it was all kinds of stuff. So when that came out on TV, I knew that I was living in the future.
Well, Robot Chicken also came out, which is kind of a niche spot, making fun of the section that there with its mini shorts and bringing in different elements. The Robot Chicken there on Adult Swim. And
That's
also
when action figures came to life.
Exactly. And Avatar: The Last Airbender came out on Nickelodeon. That's now looked at as one of the top animated kind of kids shows, even for adults, with the themes that it tackled in that one. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Disney Channel.
Sweet. Saw plenty of that through my younger siblings.
Yep. That lasted for a long time. The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer on CNN, just to mention on news programming, that's lasted, still hanging on. Weeds on Showtime lasted 6 or 7 seasons. Enjoyed that for quite a while. That was one of those high quality TV shows on an extension from cable television. Certainly not one of the first that came out that was of high quality, but one of several that came out in the 2000s. Meet the Barkers with Travis Barker and his first wife at the time, I think, following them around. Yeah, that was an MTV show for a while.
Famous. Yeah, now that he's dating Kardashians, people are like, this is strange that he's like a punk rocker or whatever. It's like, no. They're both reality stars. People forget that he was doing it way before the Kardashians.
Bones came out. That was a big show on Fox for many, many years as well, following someone that checked out Bones.
Not to be confused
Solve
with
Crimes.
Bones, Thugs, and Harmony.
That's right. Lasted for 12 seasons. Supernatural also debuted, which lasted, 15 years or something. I think it just wrapped up recently. Supernatural lasted a very long time with the brothers that solved supernatural occurrences, I believe. The Martha Stewart Show was in syndication. Just some notes, sorry. Naruto came out on the Cartoon Network. Also a big cartoon as well. Show that lasted for a long time. American Dad premiered on Fox.
Wow.
Following in those adult cartoon footsteps there.
Just remaking of a remake of a ripoff of a ripoff at that point.
Yeah. Iron Chef
Still going strong as far as I know.
Iron Chef America on the Food Network.
Word.
So we were just stacked with interesting and still memorable shows for a lot of us. And all kinds of different venues at that time at 2005.
It's like a TV strapped to our eyeballs, playing us propaganda, playing us cooking shows, playing us every System of a Down videos. I don't know if that was a good year. I guess maybe that's a good year for TV where you got, those are some household names. Everyone remembers The Office. I don't like The Office because I don't want to be at work. And I don't understand why you would go home and then watch a show. Like, I don't even like talking and bantering at work. So why would I subject myself and not get paid? I guess they're comedians and they're funnier than the people at work, but never understood that. I got upset with Mad Men for the same reason, because as much partying and whatever else they do, like 90% of that show is just two guys sitting in an office wearing ties at a desk, and it's like, should be getting paid for this meeting. Wow, that's a heck of a marketing strategy you got there.
I couldn't.
But am I clocked in? Like,
yeah, I had trouble with the first season of that too. But
I watched all of both. I just
thought
I should have gotten paid for it.
That's the point, right? Work is very mundane, so let's try and put some storylines in here that
some meetings I'll never get back.
Well, our lists are complete, Ben.
Yeah, but our hearts are
still broken.
We need to do 20,000 more podcasts to make up for it. Every artist who changed our lives will be documented and thoroughly analyzed, ranked on the definitive tier list of all of the Poly Music experience.
Yeah. We'll hit the last track on the Hypnotize album, the last track that System of a Down put out before their hiatus. And then we will go through our recap next time.
Booyah.